Thank you for joining me again. Today we've come to Amy Newman's room. Love Amy, love James W., who runs the room, and just dropped in there because it's really where I started my journey. I'm not sure if you're familiar with sort of how I got started, but I used to just drop into Amy's rooms to talk to them and just interact with everybody there. And I've sort of checked with Amy. She's fine with me taking anything that I'm involved in as a recording, and I highly recommend her channel. They're full of life, laughter, and love, and they're just really great people. Um, but sort of returning to there, I hadn't been back for a while, and I miss them a lot. Sometimes I'm doing things when they're on, and I've got to give priority to my own channel, of course. That's just the reality, but I certainly do miss them, and I'm very aware of that's where I started engagement with theists and with other people of differing ideas and differing perspectives and differing opinions, I must say. But anyway, I dropped back in there, and there was sort of an old bloke by the name of Zenith, an old Australian bloke, or I should say an older Australian bloke. He basically, and this one is centered around, and I really want to get this over without offending anybody. It was about a really horrible word that's used in Australia, a shortening for the Aboriginal people that live in Australia, and it really is a horrible word. I'm not going to repeat it. It's got a lot of stuff involved with it. So it was me explaining to this older guy why we don't use it, why it is a bad and unacceptable word kind of thing. And I don't think he meant any harm. And I mean, for a second, let's talk about the First Nations in Australia, like the Native American First Nations. When I was in school and I got given, your textbooks for school, and you start to study the Aboriginal people of Australia. The book, I remember, it was called Native Australian Culture, and the first thing the teacher said is that title's completely wrong, because it should be said as Native Australian Cultures. They're all different. They're all very dissimilar in certain respects. They're similar in other respects. They're very rich and diverse. The one that I'm, the Wodginook are the people around where I am, and more specifically, the area that I'm in is part of the Noongar Aboriginal culture, and they're slightly different, and there's a whole lot of them. So when somebody uses one of these words, it kind of it just it comes with a whole load of baggage. So most of this room rumble is talking about the leftover baggage from colonialism and the words that the people used who took over the country to minimize and denigrate the native people, which it happened. We have to deal with that, and so most of it is me explaining why this word is particularly bad. And sort of, I wondered whether I was going to post this or not, and I decided to. Zenith's an atheist. I don't see why we should sort of put up videos of theists and not atheists when we have encounters with them. And there, a theist did come along. Although he did come very late. Now, something I have to describe about Amy's channel is a lot of it is people coming in, they get an opening and they get a closing, and then it's sort of open conversation. So sometimes when you're seeing me sit there and people are talking, it's because it's the way the room is run. People give the chance to, when they first come on, to give an opening, and when they leave, they give a closing, and I get that as well. So I get access to that as well. And the theist that came in later, he got sort of both in one, an opening and a closing. So it's why I didn't really get a chance to really push back on a lot of his stuff. Although I did sort of say what I thought in my closing, which came after his, and you'll see that. But I hope you enjoy, and I hope we keep in mind that some of these words do have baggage, and I'm not trying to vilify people, especially some older Australian bloke. It just slips out. Like I get it, but we can improve and we can make things better. And one of the things is to avoid these terms which carry this awful injustice through to the people who are on the receiving end of them. So I hope you enjoy. It is an old Australian bloke or older Australian bloke. So yeah, enjoy and
Ooh, I hope you're doing well, Mark Reid. We are skeptic and ranting on what the Antichrist will do. My goodness, we want to know his plan. I hope you're having a good time, Mark. And what are your thoughts about the subject?
Yes, I love this subject, the sort of end of the world sort of, prophecies kind of things.
Near and dear to us too.
It's fantastic. Like every single time something comes out, it's always the mark of the beast. Like they thought barcodes were the mark of the beast. So what is the mark of the beast exactly? And they never sort of give any explanation. It's just the next technology to come out. Some people said that the sort of Apple watches and things were the mark of the beast because your wrist is just as good as the hand when it comes to it, right? Like because it tracks and it does all these things. That's the mark of the beast. So there's all these things that people are saying that is this mark, and none of them really have a good indicator of what it actually is. And as far as I know, the implant technology that they're talking about is actually on the forearm, because if you're going to have something implanted that takes the place of your phone, it's not going to be on a surface that you can't read or do something on. So it's actually forearm rather than hand. So does that nullify it as the mark of the beast? I don't know. I don't think it has any kind of critical application. The other thing is that technology is getting better and better all the time. I don't think necessarily something implanted is going to be particularly a good idea if you're talking about replacing the phone or something like that, because how often does Apple update its phone? It's like nearly every year now. So you'd kind of have to go back into surgery every time you want to update your iPhone, which is it's kind of impractical kind of thing, really impractical. So I really don't think that it's sort of and RFID chips. Look, when you're talking about security at the moment, generally what you're using is biometrics, right? So you're using fingerprint or retina scans or something like that. You're just using biometric functions to do security. Can an RFID chip store information? Sure, but there's no particular benefit in doing that over, say, a phone or something you keep on your person, apart from not losing it. But it doesn't provide that much benefit. I do know of a woman that's had an RFID chip installed in like her hand there. In America, I think it is, so she can sort of open all of her doors with it. But it's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of, there's a whole load of problems to do with security. There's a whole load of problems, sort of around it. I don't know. It just sort of, it just doesn't seem like it's that great an idea practically. So I don't know. It's just really weird that they've claimed everything's been sort of mark of the beast over the years. So I mean, another claim that I've heard is one of the passages refers to file sharing kind of thing, which is where is it? I looked it up here. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And I've heard that like sort of refer to file sharing and streaming things kind of thing. And it's like, really? Yeah, they're not talking about a literal fig tree, really? I don't know. It's very weird, and sort of the different people have different interpretations, and it's all weird. So I don't know. I just find it interesting the way that, like, these are like Nostradamus's prophecies, right? You could read them any way you wanted to. Like, you could read that as, it refers to growing produce overseas and then importing it kind of thing. Like you can read that any way you want. If you're going to be that metaphorical about it, it doesn't have any kind of information in it whatsoever. Just like the prophecies of Notre Dame can be read just about any way that you want. So yeah, that's my spiel. It's so good to be here. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. But I love this end of time stuff because it's so stupid. It's just so stupid. Especially, and you touched on this, saying, "Oh, we're falling and we're living the worst of." No, we don't. Like what? 50, 60 years ago, there was a world war that killed like millions, kind of thing. Like, are you serious? The trajectory is all down. I don't know where they get this from, quite frankly. Like, we live longer than we've ever done before. More people are educated than ever been before. More people are happier than ever before. Like, if you remember, there used to be a depression a while ago. Like, people were utterly miserable because they were basically.
I forget the name of what they called that.
What, the depression?
There it is. No, it's a bad joke. It was a dad joke.
Oh, okay. I totally went over my head.
Never mind.
Yeah, but who looks at this sort of the progress that we've made in modern times? Getting rid of slavery, essentially, getting rid of polio and things like that, and go, oh no, it's a downwards trajectory all the way. Are you joking? Like, I don't know how they can look at sort of modern life versus stuff back in the 1800s, being a peasant, and go, oh, it's a downward trajectory. You think?
Yeah, it seems that just anything to do with post-enlightenment, they seem to be like, oh my goodness, they're having technology and spreading education, and medicine is getting better. And wait, no, this seems like everything's going upwards, and everything seems to be going in a progressive direction.
I think that the problem is that they say a downward trajectory because things aren't going great for churches. Like, it's all tied into the religion.
There you go.
Like, as religion has decayed a little bit and we've more sort of gone, okay, well, how do we improve our lives? The best way to do that is to have science to tell us what the state of our health is, what the state of our environment is, all of these things. Religion's kind of been put on the back burner a bit, in modern life because, well, science and sort of, reason and all of these things, it kind of gets shit done. Basically, it gets stuff done. Yep. It sorts stuff out. It says, okay, well, here's how we classify this. How do we reach this point? Yes, this is the way to do it. If this is the state right now, and make experiments to say, hey, how do we implement this? Sure, yeah, it does all of that. And they say, well, yeah, it does that, but that doesn't mean, we should ignore religion. Well, sure, but you're basically saying, hey, the state of our society is the state of the religion, and that's just not true. Like, you can't say that, like, these countries that are irreligious are going badly. You have places like the Scandinavian nations, Sweden, Norway. You have Japan, which is very secular. Just because the religion's, sort of bad, that doesn't mean that it's bad for everybody that lives there. Sure, they've got their problems.
Oftentimes, they have the highest ratings of happiness. They have good ratings in education and healthcare and things that we associate with a good life.
Yeah, and I mean, a part of that may be, sort of other factors. I mean, correlation doesn't equal causation, but it certainly blows away the idea that you need religion for people to be happy, or you need religion for people to be moral, kind of thing. Like, it really, it falsifies that idea. But they want to say, hey, those countries, the amount of times I've heard people go, oh, but Sweden's just out of control and it has all these, and people from Sweden go, what are you talking about? I mean, Trump did that. He said that you needed like an escort to go through certain areas of Sweden. And Sweden was like, what are you talking about? Like, just make stuff up.
He just makes up fan fiction, but that's a whole...
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But this whole idea that you need religion in order to have a well-managed moral country is absolutely false, and it's proved by these countries that are doing it. But this narrative that, if religion's in decline, then society's in decline. I'm really sorry, but the evidence does not bear that out. It just doesn't. And you might say, hey, it's more moral with religion. Maybe you can make a case for that. But, the whole idea that we're on a downwards trajectory. No, your religion's on a downwards trajectory. Not society, not everything. Sorry.
And okay, on that note, I'm going to read a super chat, and then we're going to get Zenith in. So, sending so much love to Big Bad Mama, to Praise, who we're going to have Mark on to have a debate on evolution.
Evolution, yeah.
Woohoo!
Praise promised. He promised he'd do it.
This is the thing with I don't know what it is with genetic entropy. What about our unfortunate genetic entropy? And I know I always say, what about it? Even though it's the same with ERVs, and it's because I've asked people who are experts in the fields of both genetic entropy and ERVs, and they will say the same thing. Oh, because it's good evidence of evolution. And I'm like, oh, okay, so it's technical, and they can basically yabber on. It's like the flat earthers that like to use a lot of terminology, even though they're really
genetic entropy is the love child of a guy called Dr. Sandford, and he sort of has a model that uses a certain criteria to model how often mutations are happening and how often detrimental mutations are happening. But as people have pointed out, it uses a very generic level, and it's good for modeling over extremely large populations. But it's basically using an average, right? Like he puts about 4 mutations per sort of per offspring or per thing, and that's not the case. Some have more, some have less, so it's kind of inaccurate as far as that's concerned. And so geneticists have told him time and time again that this model doesn't. If this model was true about genetic entropy, then we should see it in all of the like the Lenski experiments that used bacteria to replicate. We should see it in the Drosophila experiments, which are fruit flies. We should see this decay, and we
for
don't.
multiple generations.
Correct, yeah. So we should see it. We don't. It may be a good way to model over very, very large populations, but it is not indicative of what actually happens in populations, because when the mutations build up, they're sort of failing to account for if detrimental mutations build up, that organism is removed from the gene pool by, natural selection being a bitch, basically. It just takes things out that don't work.
Some things are just to be.
Yeah, so there is a correcting mechanism for that, and they sort of want to say, but even so, it should build up. No, anything that builds up that amount of detrimental mutations will be eliminated. That's just how it works. And sort of he's been refuted by nearly every single geneticist across the planet, because they consider, which is a shame, because Sandford used to be a really good geneticist, and sort of he's just not considered seriously anymore.
They used to really be scientists.
Well, it's odd, like his sort of, he brought out papers on genetics and sort of basically an old earth sort of, genetics, and then he switched to the other side very abruptly and, very suspiciously. But it's a shame, because he is a good geneticist. It's a real shame that he's sort of got these bad ideas.
But thank you, Mark, and thank you, Big Bad Mama, for the $2 super chat. No, not at all, because I find this actually fascinating, because they find these niches, the creationists, that they think are good avenues to sound technical. I stand by my definition that scientists, skeptics, non-believers want to convey information, and creationists want to sound technical. And that's two just very different goals. Anyway, so I always welcome your good information, is what I'm saying. Anyway, Zenith, let me say that again now that you're actually here. Zenith, we are skeptic and ranting on what the Antichrist will do. I hope you're having fun tonight, and what are your thoughts about the topic or anything we've been saying?
Antichrist. Yeah, that's a joke, isn't it? When you think, have a look at it. Back in those days, they didn't even know who Christ was. Who the hell are they going to say who the Antichrist is? Really? That's a joke, isn't it? Yeah.
That's true. The Antichrist, or the Christ, I'm pretty sure was the first few hundred years after his death. And so if they're talking about the gospel, then they wouldn't have used that language, in which case there wouldn't have been the Antichrist.
Yeah, well, that's where they got the words from, wasn't it? Or was it the Catholics that just went, oh, hang on a second, that's not in there. We'll put it in there because we have to have a new, well, we got the Republicans, we got the Democrats, we got to have an Antichrist. Put that in there.
Listen, you got to have a villain.
Oh, yes. But the question to that is, to what end? They got nothing better to do. Honestly, they're anti this, they're anti that, they're anti this, they're anti that, And do they give you anti, vaccines for it? No, they don't. They just go out and say, right, you're out of here. But they don't tell you where. But they'll never tell you where to go, do they?
I do want to, I guess, I'd rather be pro-Satan than the Antichrist. They're never pro. It's always anti. You got to be against something.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, you got to pick a side. Yeah. Well, I'm the same. If I'm going to go out, I'm going out with a pro. Hang on a minute. I don't know the way I said that, but yeah, you know what I mean. I'm going out with a.
That's okay.
Yeah. Well, I had a professional once. Oh, yes. But, I remember one time.
I have an iPhone Pro. I don't know if that's actually true, but it makes for a good joke. I don't know if that's a joke. Keep on going.
I don't know. I got Samsung.
Woohoo!
Yeah, because I couldn't get my lips around an eye.
If you could, it would be an iSung.
Yeah, I don't know, but getting back to what you were talking about, though, it's been something that's been going around and said for a lot of years, and I've actually been called that. I remember.
Antichrist?
Yeah, I can't remember what was said or how it was said, but they all looked at me and went, "You're the Antichrist." I'm going, "Oh, okay, yeah, wow, could be. Don't believe in him."
Oh, me, Antichrist. Who has the time?
Yeah, who's got the time? I got better things to do. And I go, what are you talking about? I mean, all right, what got me into trouble at one stage? Do you know how to save and how to get to protect a Muslim from drowning in a swimming pool?
I heard, okay, Muslims in a swimming pool.
Yeah, you got to take your foot off their heads. Well, it's like, I'll give you an example. It's like today, right? They got all these what do you call them? Activists in the city with all this, free Palestine, blah blah blah, and all this sort of stuff. And I sent them a pork sandwich. Yeah, they don't want to talk to me for the moment.
Yeah, I don't know what's with religion and not liking pork. Both the Jews and the Muslims can't eat pork.
Yeah,
This is my message to religion. Eat bacon. It's okay. Actually, we should probably not eat animals. But if you're going to eat animals, eat bacon.
Yeah, trouble is, yeah, and then you got to go down and say, well, I'm sorry, I'm the Antichrist. And you're going to go, what are you talking about? I'm eating mutton, aren't we? Like, no, no. But you get in trouble for that too. So that's the point. Why is it that, like we're doing this here? For some reason, I can't talk about this in Australia. I honestly can't. I can't even mention anything like this because you know what? It's all misinformation.
That's okay. Hey, YouTube randomly likes us because we spread information on this channel. I say randomly, but that's not randomly. The creationists they're always like, oh my goodness. But I don't know. We've had decent luck. So yes, say whatever you want as long as it's information.
Yeah. What I got kicked off Facebook the other week for whatever I said, and they said, give us a reason why we shouldn't. And I said, well, that's simple because it's the truth. And they didn't like that. Yeah.
We're on Facebook right now. Hello, Facebook, aren't we? Yes.
Yeah.
Hello, Facebook.
Hello, Facebook. Yeah.
Also, we'll say that this is why you can tell that the journalists of all stripes miss Twitter being called Twitter because it says X, formerly called Twitter, because no one knows what the X is.
Have you been on Twitter lately?
I go on. I have been on for at least 5 maybe 4 tweets, but I'm still. Aren't they X's now?
X-Men. Yeah. Well, they got that from wrestling, didn't they? WWE. That's where they got that. But I can't help this. I mean, this Antichrist stuff has been going around for so long, and now this one that we just listened to, 2024. Well, they've been saying that for what? Well, I can remember them coming out with this sort of stuff back in the 1950s. Well, I'm not telling you how old I am. Well, that's wrong. But yeah, since about the 70s, 80s, all right, make it the 80s. Since the 80s, they're always saying the same thing, year in and year out. Now it's 2024. And why? Because AI is getting them.
See, but AI is not, well, it can be scary. I shouldn't just blanket say AI can't be scary because it's just like any technology. You can use it to do scary things. And yet, they say this with every technology. Like Mark was saying, every new technology, it's spooky.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, when you have a look at it, when was it? Back in the year 2000, when they said that, that all the planes are going to come down and do this and do that, and everyone is on what? They're all on computers. Isn't that AI? Your phone is an AI.
Yes, or well, isn't AI? If you're using a phone, it could have AI on it.
Yeah. Well, you can look it up if you you can look it up and put it on.
Also, what's up, Preacher? And it's funny that Preacher, you come in. This is what always happens. We said we were going to do 30 minutes.
Well,
okay. At this mark, it's always like the people that vastly disagree with us. They're like, all right, time to have a 4-hour conversation. Well, I'm just saying, last chance right there.
Well, the problem is, like here, it's only 5:30 in the afternoon.
Only 5:30? It is 2:45 a.m. here.
Yeah, that's why I keep missing you there. I can't. Your times and my times don't match.
Well, I'll tell you, we're going to be doing times all the time. I don't know how, but we're going to make it happen. I think we're going to have a stream on here also on Sunday because inspired by Randolph Richardson and Taco. T-Jump.
I love Randolph.
I do love Randolph. He's good. These good people.
Yeah, I like his the house that he built out in the middle of nowhere, and took us through it.
Build a house. Can I also say I'm so sympathetic to that, even though I am such a Northeastern person and I need like a latte with caramel in it. There is like a little romanticized of just like a small cabin somewhere. Though that really is just romanticized because then you're like, oh my God, I want plumbing and other stuff.
Well, I tell you what, you and James ought to come here to Australia for a little bit come down for a week.
Oh, I would come down. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Okay, which word? Coming down or getting here?
Coming down, oh, that's true. It's a lot. Though I go 50-50 on flights. A lot of people, as long as my ears are okay, I can do well on flights.
Okay.
I always
Well,
feel very safe on things like that because I go super hard with the science. I always say, listen, if I trust in technology, a car has a much higher chance of crashing or doing something wrong, and so put me on the plane and let's watch a movie from the 90s.
Yeah, take
90s.
from the 90s.
Sponsored by Spirit. Spirit.
Yeah.
Who cares if it was on Blockbuster first?
You know where I get the best spirits from?
Where's that?
Out of a bottle.
Say that again?
Out of a bottle.
Out of a bottle. Oh, yeah, no, that's a good spirit.
That's where the best spirits come from.
The pilots on Spirit probably drink Spirit, sponsored by Spirit. I am definitely not going to, but yes, yeah. This is the last 5 minutes. Especially if no person that disagrees with us, because with the atheists, what we generally say is very sane, rational things.
But atheists can talk about anything, anytime, anywhere. All these Christians and anti-Christ ones, they can't. And it's the same as these flat earthers and all that. When they want to talk, is it anything new?
No.
Anything? No. It's a repeat. They might as well just record it and shut their gob and put it on. It's the same thing. Left and right. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. They basically the same apologetics.
Yeah, they can't help themselves. They're just so full of it. It really is. Actually, I've worked out what AI actually stands for.
What's it stand for?
Arse lickers.
Boom. I knew that was coming. I didn't know what the joke was. I could just feel that the punchline was coming.
Yeah, but did you see the twist I did there?
Oh, I never see an ass licker coming. There goes my TOS. I'm sorry, YouTube. I want to be sponsored by Nabisco. Please, YouTube. Cookies.
Yeah,
Everyone loves cookies.
Yeah. Well, let's try.
I'm just trying to pick some cookie company that makes it sound wholesome. That has to have a good. So, Pepperidge Farm, sponsored by Pepperidge Farm. Why does it have to be cookies? Who knows? Sponsored by Oreos.
I'll show you what they're trying to do.
Oreos sponsor everything.
No, Oreos. Look, does Zenithal know what I'm talking about when I say Tim Tams? They are so much better than Oreos. Yes.
Tim Tams.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Do you like Tim Tams?
Oh my goodness.
Well, of course.
That's a lot of chocolate.
Why wouldn't I like Tim Tams?
Oh, that's disgusting shit, that is.
No, that's
oh my god, but it's chocolate. It looks like chocolate on chocolate.
No, it's disgusting looking caramel inside. Oh no!
No, it doesn't. That's
we'll say that's not
a
bad sell either. I'm just gonna say I'm a fan of caramel too.
Like
yeah,
you do something called a Tim Tam Slam. Tim Tam Slam is where you bite off each end and then you suck the coffee. Like you have a really nice coffee and you suck the coffee up through the chocolate Tim Tam. It is the best thing ever. You sound Australian. Yeah. Where are you from? WA. Oh, well, I'm not going to hold that against you.
I
probably wouldn't.
Try not to.
I just liked hearing him explain sucking coffee through something. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. See, I'm from Sydney.
Sorry, I like coffee.
Yeah. Western Australia, eh?
Should I be impressed or horrified? What should I be?
Well, you got a choice here, don't you? You got a choice.
I
Which
have
one do you want?
What? Sydney
Are you
or
horrified
Western
or
Australia?
impressed?
Oh, no. I think a lot of Sydney-siders expect people to be impressed that they're from Sydney, and I don't think it's sort of warranted as such.
No, it's not. It's not.
No, so I don't know why they have this expectation that they're the only state in Australia, but that's okay. It's just yeah.
No. You know what the problem is?
Tell me.
There's too many. Like in Western Australia, you got Aussies. You got, but not much else.
That's a really, really racist word, Zenith. I'd appreciate it if you don't say that. Like, that's horrible.
Which one was racist?
Wait, don't say. I didn't hear it the first time, and if it's
Yeah, so they're Aboriginals or Native Australians, then don't use that word. Don't.
Well, see, no, but see, that's the difference. In Sydney, that's what we say. Because
I don't care. It's a really racist word, and you know it. Like, I realize you might have let slip, but I don't. That word is racist. It is.
Well, that's like saying the same stuff in America, isn't it? What do they say?
Yeah, they say the N word.
Yeah, see, and I don't use that word.
Yeah.
I mean, that's wrong.
Racist.
That's wrong. I know.
yes,
Yeah.
It's wrong. I agree.
So we're all gonna agree on that,
Yes,
and
because it's not wrong. It sounds very, very racist. I agree. Yes.
It is racist. I mean, I can show you sort of the dictionary definition from multiple dictionaries like Collins and stuff that show it is an unacceptable word because it has overtones of extreme racism that has been part of Australia for many, many years. So
Yeah. But that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like saying g'day instead of saying good day.
James.
No, it's not. No, that would be here. I'll put a link so you can see. Collins Dictionary is probably the best dictionary in Australia. Just look up that and just see the usage there. So the usage says, because of its highly offensive nature, this word is completely unacceptable.
Hang on, I'll get my glasses because I can't see it. Hang on.
Yeah, sure. I just want you to understand this sort of.
Oh, I see what you've done. Right up. Yeah, okay.
And I didn't hear what it was, but
I'm not going to
chat is no, I'm not. What I'm saying is the chat is basically saying that we should kick you, Zeta. We generally don't kick for that.
Let's give Zenith a chance, let's not just kick people out, sort of on one mistake. Like, people do make mistakes. It's fine.
Oh,
it's okay.
Well, I also have to say, I'm just have to.
But yes, caterpillar is right. It is equivalent to the N word in Australia. It is. There's another few words that I won't repeat either. The Australians know what I'm talking about. The B word, no, bad. We don't say that anymore. It's incredibly racist. The amount of sort of vilification associated with this word it's a lot. And look, I totally get that people still use these words. They might have grown up in a time where they were normalized. They might have grown up in a time where it's perfectly acceptable. I get that. It's just nowadays the amount of hurt and hate that it causes it's not okay. It really grinds my soul to think that people will use this, offhand, just like they might use, an F word to describe gay people offhand. They might have grown up with that word and it might be completely normal. There's so much associated and so much harm associated with it. We kind of try not to say it, and sort of the dictionaries that show usage reflect this. They sort of say, hey, this word is incredibly derogatory. There's so much sort of when you're talking about definitions and usages, there's a lot of these things that have labels. They have associated things with them. So even if you don't think that there is that associated derogatory conditions with the word you're using, they come with it just because that's how it's used by everybody. So
what do you do when they say it themselves?
Sorry?
Well,
What do you do when they say it themselves?
I don't.
Can I just say? Well, no.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. No,
Well,
it's
no.
your show, Amy. I'm not gonna.
No. I honestly, I think you were doing very lovely. I'll tell you why some words, because I know why I use certain words in a reclaiming manner, because the words always come from, generally speaking, it comes from a type of malice. I'm not saying 100% those words are always used in malice, but the way that people reclaim words is because a way to de-sharpen them is to reclaim some of them. But generally speaking, I always find when it happens and it falls outside of any type of that reclaiming ship, it always just ends up being painful and hurtful. And
Well, I'll give you an example. Like people call me a fat slob, an old creepy fat one. Okay, should I feel
don't approve
offended?
of that either. I don't
Yeah,
think
but
that's
no,
very nice.
I'm asking, should I be offended by that?
Well, probably. I mean,
I think if someone walks up to you and says that you're a fat slob, I think that, yeah, that's offensive and mean.
pretty
Well,
much, yeah.
I've copped that all my life. Okay, but
Well, I think that's sad. That's terrible. People shouldn't be coming up to you and going, "Hey, you're a fat slob, Zenith." I think that's horrible. People don't know who you are. They don't know the life that you've lived. They don't know what you've been through. I think that's terrible.
yeah,
But there's a difference between that sort of saying, "Hey, you personally, you Mark Reid are a bald idiot
yeah.
or something," and saying, "Hey, this entire bunch of people are this word which has all these things around it, like signifiers like lazy, evil, prone to crime, prone to this, prone to that." There's a lot of baggage that some words have that when you inflect them, they come with a lot of baggage. Even some words like atheist comes with a lot of baggage, right? Like people say atheist and they sort of assume, well, you believe in evolution, you don't have any morals. There's a lot of baggage that comes with
They
words.
always think we're nihilists.
Yeah, I noticed
Nihilist,
that.
right? Exactly.
Yeah, I noticed that. It seems to be.
So the baggage that comes with the particular word that you used, it's a lot of it is very derogatory. It's very harmful. It's very sort of they're a lesser people kind of thing, and that's the problem. It's not that you mean that, right? It's nothing to do with what you mean by using the word. The problem is the baggage that comes with it is sort of you may unintentionally be putting that on somebody, but you are doing it by using that word, and that's the problem. Like if somebody uses the N word,
okay.
right?
Okay.
So we're not
Yeah,
talking about someone specifically. We're talking about a sort of saddling an entire people with these derogatory terms.
Oh,
So-
okay, right.
so
I got you. I got what you mean now. Yeah. No,
And,
well,
you can respond
I'm
to-
sorry because I didn't mean it that way.
No, that's okay. I gather that you didn't. That it's just a word that you're used to using, and I totally understand. Like there's words that I used to use that I just used all my life, but it's that baggage that comes with it that's really really nasty and sort of we're trying to find a way we can talk to each other, especially the First Nations peoples, in a way that we can be respectful of one another, because we've got to live in this country together. There's no, we're not going to throw each other out and stuff. We've got to make a society where we all treat each other with respect. Somehow we've got to do that, and sort of so. I think a first step is to avoid the words that immediately saddle them with labels that they don't want to be saddled with. Just as if someone's gay and they don't want to be called the F word, that we don't saddle them with that. Because that is and part of, like what Amy was saying, part of taking the bite out of that word is them using it laughingly itself. Like I've got a group of friends, we call ourselves the evolutionists, right? The evolutionists, because you know what I mean? Like they use it derogatory about us. They say, "Oh, you're evolutionist," but we find it funny because
Yeah, I just got that. That's good.
Well, evolution being evil is like gravity being evil. Like it's just a natural. Like there's nothing evil or good about it. So we use it to take the bite out of it, you know, to make fun of them using it. And it's much like the same way that you know, a black person may use the N word to reclaim it, to basically say, hey, I'm going to grab that word and I'm going to take all of those labels away from it and use it myself, because it helps sort of take it away. But until we have all those labels removed from some of these words, and I don't know if they ever will be, we kind of just avoid using it. And that's, you know, I'll shut up, but that's my
no, but that's good, because how can I put this? Like, me personally, I don't see color. I'm not colorblind. I mean, I just don't see color. I go by what the person's like.
Well, I think that's good. You know,
Do you know what I mean?
You should.
In other words, if you're good to me, I'm good to you. You know? Yeah. He disappeared. No,
I just had to scratch my head. That's all.
Yeah, I don't see. You look at black and white and orange and pink and black and whatever. You know, I don't see that. I see people. You know, and as simple as that. If you treat me good, I treat you good. You treat me like rubbish, well, I'm worse to you. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I don't know. I have to be cognizant of sort of the things that happened in the past, though. That colonization, and I love Lindsay Ellis, who said this first that I heard her say. Colonization is baked into every single culture in the world. It's something that happened that is sort of it's sort of this aftershock of this time where things were extraordinarily bad for sort of 3/4 of the world's population. And that's to draw it back to the video. That's what I don't understand about this, like, oh, there's downwards trajectory kind of thing. Colonization was awful for people. So, you know, the idea that we're sort of overcoming that and sort of dealing with these cultural issues is a good thing. I don't understand how that's possibly a downwards trajectory, but I have to be cognizant of that. And I don't blame anybody for it. Like, you weren't born when it happened. I wasn't born when nobody was born when it happened. And it's sort of how I separate blame, which I don't blame anybody, but we're all responsible for it. Like, so if you work in a corporation, right, and some, you know, person comes to you and say, hey, this has been totally stuffed up, right? It's somebody's dropped the ball, completely made a dog's breakfast of the entire thing, right? You're not to blame for it, but you may be responsible for fixing it. So I think that we all have a responsibility to try to make respect between people and sort of keep in mind these things, because none of us are to blame. We're all responsible for what happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're too young, but we had here two parties that should never existed. One was the Socialist Party, and one was the Australian White Policy. Those two things.
Oh yeah, no, I'm very, very aware of White Australia Policy. Yeah. I know about that one. Yeah, we learned about that one in school, actually. Yeah.
You learn about.
Do you know what they used to do? You know what they used to do? They used to spin a wheel, right, for immigrants. Okay, you could take the test in English, or you could spin a wheel, and whatever language the wheel ended on was the language you had to take the immigration test in, right? So if you were like Italian and it landed on, like, you know, Swedish, you would literally have to take the test in Swedish. I'm not even joking. This is what they used to do.
Yeah. Look, my parents came here from Europe. Okay, I'm a total mongrel. My dad was Czechoslovakian. My mother was German. Okay. Now they came out here as kids. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now they got put into camps down in Victoria, and what you were talking about, Mark, is exactly what they did.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they turned old enough to go, they were in. Okay, my mum came out here when she was 10. They didn't let her out of that camp until she was 20. Hmm. Now, what do you say about that one? I mean, back in those days, things were totally different. And I know what you're saying, Mark. You read on things like that. You know, I grew up with it.
Yeah.
But-
No, I hear you. Sorry, go ahead, Amy.
Oh no, I just want to say the one more thing about the skin color thing. I think that sometimes, while I understand kind of the sentiment that you're trying to say with the I don't see color, that phrase is oftentimes used to ignore that some people, not saying you, but sometimes used to ignore that there are people that do view color and treat people differently because of said skin tone. And so
I know. I've run into that. Look, as I said, my parents, my background is basically German, right? Now, with my last name that I have, right at this moment, the way things are here, or you in Western Australia, I think they're doing it too, but I'm getting classed as a Jew. So guess what they're trying to do to me? You know, and that is wrong, isn't it?
I'm not sure. And I wasn't sure of the situation, but Mark said yes,
Yeah,
and so I'm going to trust
with,
this.
with what's currently happening in Israel, a lot of it, like a lot of Jewish people, are being blamed for the crimes of their government or the things that their government's doing.
Yeah.
And a lot of
Oh,
Palestinians are being blamed for the things that Hamas are doing.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
I want, if nothing else, I want people to understand that, you know, the people of Israel are not the government of Israel, just like the people of America aren't the government of America, and the people of Australia aren't the government of Australia. Like, we've got to differentiate between what the government's doing and sort of blaming the people for that. But at the end of the day, the people do have a responsibility to, like, vote their government out or make it clear they don't support their government or something like that. And just as the people of Palestine really should be sort of, you know, making it clear that they don't support what Hamas is doing. This situation breaks my heart. So it breaks my heart because in
the civilians always lose.
yeah, the
That's who.
civilians always are the ones that cop it in any war. Doesn't matter which war it is, the civilians are always the ones to come out worse. And it breaks my heart because people are sort of, you know, oh, we're going to take down this Hamas. And it's like, yeah, but you're going to kill so many civilians along the way. Is that worth it?
No.
Apparently so. It's
hang on,
really
Mark.
tragic.
But all I'm saying is that they're not going by colour; they're going by name. And if your name sounds a certain way, what does that say?
Well, they're still going by perceived race, right? So they're going by ethnic divisions and taking a name as being part of that ethnic division.
Who's going?
So, for instance, Reid is like my last name. Reid is an ethnic division. It's actually Scottish. You know, sort of say, hey, you're Scottish, kind of thing. It would be a really. I mean, I don't. Apart from my name, I'm a percentage Scottish. That just happened to be the way my name came out. But I'm not Scottish. But would be like the same thing. You're still making an ethnic distinction based upon the perceived ethnic division that your name comes from, because all names have sort of an ethnic origin.
Yeah.
That's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. You know, they shouldn't be doing
I'm finding that disturbing because they're not
disturbing. Absolutely,
they're not asking, they're telling, and that's what I don't like.
Well, even if you know, you were part of that ethnic distinction, I think it's still wrong to associate somebody's ethnic origin as being, well, anything really. I mean, you might be a Israelite that's, you know, someone from Israel that's completely opposed to the government, that is marching against them and protesting and things like that. You can't just assume that somebody is for this because their government is for it. I mean, I remember being in the protests about the Iraq War. I was protesting it. But somebody, you know, hears I'm Australian. Oh, you were part of the Iraq War. You were part of killing millions of people. Well, no, I was 100% against it, but my government certainly did that. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the government here, when I was young, we still had subscription. Okay?
Yeah.
when you turned 18, you had to go into the army. Okay?
Mhm.
I just finished my apprenticeship. Didn't even.
Oh, you mean conscription? Yeah, conscription.
Yeah, what did I
It
say?
took me a second because then, like, you
Subscription,
signed
yeah,
up to the subscription. I was like, oh shit, it must be good if it's the subscription. But
I thought you meant like
Gotcha.
subscription magazines and subscription
No, the other way,
newspapers and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, the other word. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
I put an S instead of a C. Haha. But yeah, but what I'm saying is, when you don't even know about it, my dad had my bags packed and ready for me to go. I'm going, where am I going? I didn't even know. The army in those days, they actually came around my house and dragged me out. Now that's wrong.
Oh yeah, I don't agree with conscription at all. I think that's a horrible thing to do. Part of me suspects if sort of so you have Ukraine that implemented conscription when they got attacked by Russia. I don't think there is a country on this planet that wouldn't implement conscription if they were under serious attack from outside. I think they would, but sort of in the past we've used conscription for like Vietnam, for instance. They conscripted.
That's where they took me.
Yeah, and that's absolutely reprehensible. That's just awful. Conscripting people to fight overseas is absolutely terrible. And I think there would be serious problems to implement that this day, because we are on an upwards trajectory where we sort of say, hey, we don't allow our governments to conscript people into the military to send them away, kind of thing. However, I think all of them would, if the country was under attack. I think all of them would implement conscription.
The whole thing, that's, I mean, you read stuff in books on different subjects, and what happened here and what I grew up with it. I'll give you another example. I know it sounds wrong and it's political. I'm sorry about that, but Whitlam, for a start, he got in there. He was doing the country good. One person, single, kicked out an entire government.
Oh, yeah. No, I get that. Our constitution sucks. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I get that.
I mean, as far as I know, that can't happen like in America. That can't happen in America. And right at this moment, there's a big argument over, because it is now King Charles. Should we be the same as when we had the Queen?
What do you mean?
Well, there's
like abolish the monarchy, or
there's some loyalists that are saying, well, the Queen's not here anymore. We've got King Charles.
But what does
And
matter?
They want to bring up the Republican thing again here.
Well, sure.
And
oh, look, I don't really mind. I see. I don't really. I mean, sort of to have a king or queen as a figurehead, I don't really care. It's not that great big a deal for me, because we don't pay for them like the British do, kind of thing. What I want is just a constitution that says that the king's not in charge or the queen's not in charge, and they're not our head of state, and they're not in charge of the thing. And I would like our constitution to include, like, the prime minister, who's not in the constitution, and the cabinet that's not in the constitution, and all of the portfolios for ministers. That's like, there's a ton that Australia does that's just not in the constitution, and I think it's wrong. I think we should have a constitution that reflects how we actually are.
Also,
this has gone
10 more
Australian
minutes.
night. This is Australian night at the moment, and we're kind of got really off topic. I wish I made a tangent emoji, just because, like, when we go off tangent, I wish I had it at the moment.
Yeah, we did a little bit. That's my fault. Sorry about that. Yeah.
No, not at all, man. Like, no, it's probably my fault for sort of, talking about sort of the colonization and all of that kind of stuff.
Well, we have 10 minutes to steer the ship back for landing.
Well,
Creationists, if
hold on to
you do
your
not
veggie
come.
If you need to, I've got 10 or 11, actually, I can add one to it, 10 or 11 failed doomsday predictions here. So times in the past where they said absolutely, definitely the world was going to end. So you have 2012, the Maya calendar prediction. Everyone remember that one? Like when they said, "Oh, the Maya calendar's coming to an end. The world's got to be ending there," right?
Yeah.
Apparently, today is fuck Australia.
Isn't that lovely?
We love Australia.
That's lovely. That is. What do they say? What country are you from?
Mommy declares it a holiday.
Yeah, national holiday. Hey, look, Australians, any day for a day off. That's why I don't want to abolish the monarchy, because we lose like the King and Queen's birthday, which is a day off. So I want to keep that. I mean, we could just call it something else, but
yeah, make it 2 days off. One for the Queen, one for the King.
No, I'm right with you, Zenith. I'm right with you, mate. So you have 2000, the Millennium thing, end of the world. Everyone remember that? Like computers are going to go down and cause the end of the world kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about before. Yeah.
Harold Camping. Anyone heard of Harold Camping?
Harold Camping.
Yes.
He's the pastor,
Harold
right?
Camping.
Who had yeah. He had like several
predicted 12 times based upon his interpretations of biblical numerology. In 1992, he published a book ominously titled 1994? And he predicted the end of the world
I remember now.
at the end of 1994.
See, I like that question mark. I do the same thing. See? What the Antichrist will do.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, obviously, doesn't matter which way you look at it, they've had over 2,000 years to turn up and show their face, and no one's here yet.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And plus, like in the Bible, Jesus sort of said, "Hey, I will be back before some of you here have tasted death."
Yeah.
And, I'm pretty sure they all died.
Yeah.
Also, Arnold Schwarzenegger could have said, "I will be back," so maybe he was quoting him.
Well, but in fairness, he did return. So, he drove a truck through the police station. So,
there you go.
But he only did that once.
Well, yeah, I think they did a throwback to it in one of the newer Terminators, like said, "I'll be back," and then came back. So, a religious leader in Taiwan said that the world was going to end in 1988. He prosophised millions of devil spirits with massive flooding would cause mass extinction. Followers could be spared by buying their way aboard spaceships designed as clouds sent to rescue them. So, get your tickets now for the...
What year did you say 1988? That was 87.
No, 1988. This was a different one. This was he appeared on US television channel on 18th of March, 1988.
Oh, okay. That could have been when they put it up. Yeah, could have been. Yeah. It
Halley's Comet.
87. Yeah.
Halley's Comet in 1910. Apparently, it was going to kill all life on Earth from the clouds as it sort of came near the Earth. A group in Oklahoma tried to sacrifice a virgin to ward off impending doom, and bottled air became a really hot commodity.
Yeah, bottled air. They done that in Darwin too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Once born every minute.
You can actually buy a bottle of air up there. I don't know. You still can, but you used to.
They did that on Spaceballs too.
1831, religious leader William Miller began preaching that the end of the world would occur in 1843. He attracted 100,000 followers who believed they'd be carried off to heaven when the date arrived. When it failed to materialize, he recalculated and determined it was 1844.
Got Ellen G. White, is she on your list?
Sorry?
Is Ellen White on your list? Ellen G. White.
Oh, who?
Ellen White.
No, this is if it's before, like these are in chronological order, so if it's before 1843, then no. At 42, Joanna Southcott predicted the end of the world at 1800. She published her own books and got 100,000 followers. She announced in the following year she'd give birth to the second Messiah. Despite being 64 years old, she told doctors she was a virgin, but she died before the baby could be born. So, you missed your chance, Messiah.
What a shame that is.
Amy will give birth to the Antichrist.
1806, a domesticated hen in Leeds appeared to lay eggs inscribed with the message, "Christ is coming." great number of people visited the hen and began to despair of the coming of Judgment Day. It was soon discovered that the eggs were written in ink by the messenger and then reinserted into the hen's body. Ouch! That poor hen.
Well, here's a good one. It would have been about 76, 77. Yeah, just before Johnny O'Keefe died. Johnny O'Keefe died 78, so it was the year before. 77. Yeah. Okay. We used to have the Hare Krishnas going up and down George Street all the time. You're going, Hare Krishna, right? Now on the back of about 4 or 5 of them, the end of the world.
Yeah. No. They've been doing it for years, though. That's the thing. Okay, so the next one is 1666. Can anybody guess what happened in 1666?
Hot dogs and fireworks.
No, the Great Fire of London. So people thought that was the end of the world, right? So because it's the 666 in the end, that ties us back to our little mark of the beast 666. You know what? I saw a thing by Big Bad Mama recently about Kent Hovind saying that barcodes always have a 6 in the front, a 6 in the middle, and a 6 at the end. And I went, no, they don't. Grab the nearest thing to me, which happened to be a notepad, and like the barcodes do not have a 6 in the start, 6 in the middle, and like they do not. It's so stupid. I don't know why that man lies so much.
I got one here, and it's got it's got a 4 on one end and a 9 on the other.
Right. Like it's so stupid. Like this is what I was saying to someone in the chat. I think it was Blaster Master. Like people usually don't run into skeptics. They just hear someone like him say that, and then they go, "Yeah, that's true. I'm not going to bother to check like the closest thing to me with a barcode. That's true." You know, they don't think about it.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. You hear a lot of this stuff, but nobody checks.
Right.
And that's where the problem comes in.
Why would you want to check? Because then you might know.
Then you might know.
Yeah, well, it's better to know and have an opinion rather than have an opinion and don't know.
Hey, if you've got a lotto ticket and you haven't checked the numbers yet, you never know. You could be a winner, right?
Could be.
But that's called a lottery.
Let's just say you are. Let's just say you are.
Yeah, just say
you can then wander around saying how rich you are. It's awesome.
Of course, if you actually check the numbers, then, well, you probably go have to get up and go to work the next day. Go figure, huh?
So the next prophecy going backwards is the Great Flood of 1524 that never eventuated. Because it was the sign of Pisces, the planets would be in alignment under Pisces. Hundreds of pamphlets were sent out announcing a coming flood and sent into a motion of general panic. And that was in Germany. Count von Igelheim, a German nobleman, went so far as to build a 3-story ark. Though there was light rain on the day of the predicted flood, no actual flooding.
The Ken Ham of his day.
Right, except maybe he didn't use concrete. I don't know. I feel like concrete's a really bad material to build a massive ark out of.
But isn't it a fact that these doomsayers, you know, they can tell you when it's going to happen, and when it doesn't, they can tell you why it didn't.
Sure.
Yeah, that's.
So I've heard him say sometimes, like, "Oh well, it was going to happen, but God decided to give humanity a little more time," you know.
Or they'll do like a sort of a.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, they'll do sort of a numerological sort of study of the Bible, like, if I put a 5 here and a 6 here, and it's all very convoluted and sort of, you know, comes out at these dates that they're saying. And then if it doesn't eventualize, they go, oh, well, I miscalculated, let me calculate again. And then it's, 2 years in the future, and then another 2 years. And like this guy did 12 times that you were talking about, Harold Camping, who just kept going, oh, it's slight miscalculation. Hold on, folks, send me more money and I'll, try it again. And the oldest one I've got is 2nd century. So 2nd century is everything from 100 BCE onwards. and was in modern Turkey, said that the second coming of Christ was imminent, and believers left their homes and migrated to across a plain in order to be between two villages of Paputsa and Timion in Phrygia, where the heavenly Jerusalem would descend to earth. It did not materialize, but we do have sort of manuscript illuminations showing this sort of migration of people to meet with the end of the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, sooner or later the world will end. And let's see if they get that one right.
It's true. In about 4.5 billion years, the sun is going to red giant. Not big enough to supernova, but what's a red giant? That should take us out.
Yeah, well, that's the
that
plan.
Should give us a little bit of time to, get our affairs in order. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when the sun goes long, so do we.
Well, I mean, not really. I mean, I saw a really hopeful video that was sort of talking about where humanity is going to go from here. Like, assuming we don't sort of just plateau or we don't annihilate ourselves, which is probably the most likely explanation of why humanity will end if we absolutely annihilate ourselves through biological warfare or nuclear warfare or one of these other stupid things that humans do. There's no reason to think that we can't discover how to travel outside of our solar system. And if we can do that, then we're not reliant on the sun. None of us will be around to see it, but, that's the whole point.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, isn't it? But the fireworks in the sky will be good.
And so Deacon is rejoining. If he is successful with his audio, he's going to start off our outros. If not, we are about to start our outros. So a last chance to get that topic out because the creationists aren't joining tonight.
Or
it seems like
so.
The world is about to end. And all right, here is Deacon. So we have been Skeptic and Ranting. We have been talking about what the Antichrist will do. And we are going into our outros.
Oh, my goodness.
Woo! What's up, Deacon? We are Skeptic and Ranting on what the Antichrist will do. Hope you are having fun right now. And what are your thoughts about anything we've been talking about tonight?
Hey everybody. Thank you so much for that warm welcome, Amy. I love you so much. I love everybody. I'm so sorry I didn't see that y'all were live until y'all were 2 hours in. So honestly, I really did not get to hear anything. And to everybody, hey Mark and James and Zenith and everybody, I'm sorry, I'm so nervous. I'm not like a type of person who gets up here and talk or anything. Last time I got on, I told Amy it was the first time that I had ever got on the internet like that, in decades. I don't just do that. So this is kind of a big thing for me. And I guess one of the reasons I really like to reach out to you guys is because I've been following you all for years. I've been listening to Kent Hovind for decades, and I know y'all go into it with him. And I noticed that I even sort of pulled back from him because it's so sad that it seems like when people see Christians and stuff on TV or internet, it's causing a bickering, a back and forth kind of thing. And I'm not one of those kind of Christians who wants to debate people and stuff. I just want to be one of those type of people who represent Christ, and I just want to just love people anyway, despite of even if they hate me. That's what Jesus teaches us to do. That's what he does. He loves people who hates him. So that's what I try to do. And I ask God to help me with that and to be more like him. And he does that. And so his love encompasses everybody, even those who hate him. So because I want to be a part of that love, and I ask God to help me be one like him. That's how I love. So I just love y'all. I love everybody. I don't care. So I hope that hearing from me helps y'all sometimes when y'all always like going back and forth with people who want to just pick apart and argue with everything. I hope I just will offer you a little bit of comfort and ease that you don't have to go back and forth with me. I don't care what your thought is. I don't even care if you hate me. I love you anyway. And I pray for you and for the blood of Jesus to cover you, and God bless you in Jesus' name. If you believe in him or not, I don't even care. I just love you and God bless you. And if you don't want God's
I didn't
blessing,
even sneeze.
fine.
I'm just
Yeah.
teasing.
Huh? I'm sorry, I missed it
Or
because my.
I said no. Making more dad jokes. That's okay. Deacon, thank you.
This is why I love you. I just do. I just love you. You're amazing. You're amazing.
Deacon,
And
I
thank
love
you.
you too. And thank you so very much. And
And
we'll
I'm
keep
not
on
gonna
having.
say that's all. I'm not gonna say too much. I'm sorry. I don't want to cut you off. I just want to say I don't want to talk, too much and
Oh,
take
no,
up
you're
time,
good.
y'all. And I didn't hear the show, so I shouldn't comment, too much about it. That's what I do know a little bit about Antichrist of what I study is that it's not necessarily just a person, it's a spirit, or you can say it's an energy or it's a vibe. It's anything that is in opposition. Anti can mean opposition, it can mean against, or it can mean substitute. So it could be opposition to anything of Christ, and mean anti-Christ, opposition to Christ. It can be attack against Christ, or it could be a substitution for Christ, so it could be a fake Christ, which would be an idolization, or a creation of a deity that really doesn't exist. It's an idol.
A Christ from Wish.
Yes, basically, you can say it like that. Yes, because it doesn't represent God. If it does not align with God, no matter what we say, even what I'm speaking, I'm a deacon, I'm ordained, and I'm actually married to God. I'm married to God.
Deacon,
So,
I have to pause you because I
yeah.
have to ask this question. And
Oh,
when
God.
I ask this, I mean this. We've had someone really legitimately more than once make
Oh,
this claim. But
oh, God.
are you in a sexual relationship with God?
Oh, no. It's not
You're
sexual.
like, listen, it's a different type of married. Okay, listen.
Yeah. I
We
mean, you
all have
can
our
say,
different type of relationships.
yeah,
True.
you can say it can be sometimes sensual, I guess, because we're human, and God comes down to meet us where we are at. That's the beauty of God, is that our
Wait,
actions get.
sensual and meets you where they're at but no
Well,
lingerie?
I mean,
Wait, what do
I,
you
I
mean? Well,
can't
I mean.
I can't really speak for God and people's different relationships with Him.
Sure.
All I know is that I'm not in a position to judge someone else's situation with God, whether they have a relationship with God or not, because everyone's relationship with God is different. And I have had extremes that people could consider, whatever, if they wanted to judge. So I try to stay out of that, only in regards to someone's personal safety. If I feel like something like that's a matter,
But
or
if
if
I
they
have
just.
a Victoria's Secret gift card, does it help me with God or hinder me with God?
I
You don't
feel
have to
like.
answer that. That's
Um,
okay.
I think it depends on what you want to do with your lingerie. If you want to use it to get closer to God, then that's what He'll meet you where you're at. I guess. I mean, I can't. I can't say I have a sexual relationship with God, because it's not like he comes like, he manifests physically or anything, but I don't feel him judging me. I feel him still loving me even when I'm in the midst of lust, because I'm still a human and I still sin. I do still feel his love. I do still feel his presence and his acceptance of me, and that guides me, that helps me to do more things that align with him, even though I'm still in the midst of sin. Just because
Have you ever seen the movie Ghost?
yes.
Is that how God does it? Just like you're sitting there, we're making like some sort of a sculpture, and then
Actually,
God's just hands.
yes,
Just
that is a
righteous brothers
wonderful
playing
way.
in the background.
I knew
Yes,
it. I knew
that's
it.
a beautiful way that you can look at that God and the Holy Ghost and Jesus, that they are actually like spirits, like ghosts, and they're right there with everyone. And it's so amazing that they can be with everyone individually like that at the same
But can
time.
they all look like Patrick Swayze?
Well,
Point of
if you-
objection. Point
I
of
mean,
objection. Point of objection. In that scene, Patrick Swayze was not a ghost yet. All right.
That's
Yeah,
very
Just
true.
point of
That's
objection.
the backstory. This is
That's
the
right.
exposition. That's true.
Okay. All right. All right.
Nonetheless, that is how I want my God to manifest.
I know. I love these jokes. I love Amy. I love it. It is like sort of a creating an idol though, so we do have to be careful. Like Patrick Swayze, I guess you could say he was a handsome man. Yeah, God does have a very funny sense of humor. I'm telling you, he really does. He's not like this tyrant
Really?
or this man with this beard that just looks at us
Where
and
do you get that from?
telling you
Where do you
this.
get that from, Deacon? Where do you get that from?
I get that from God Himself. My experiences with the Father, my experiences with the Holy Spirit, my experiences with Jesus Christ. They prove that to me themselves. I mean, there's all this evidence and stuff that people can go through and debate back and forth. And
Deacon,
yeah,
you ever meet someone who just got in a new relationship and they're just like, you gotta meet her. She's so funny.
yeah.
I'm not saying that's what you sound like a little bit, but I will say if you could get God and like we could do dinner parties, I'm all up for it.
I can help. You know what? God is very accessible. It's not like that. I mean, He is hidden.
I know,
But
Dave,
it's not like we can have experience with God right now. Like I can lead everyone to try to have they have their own experience with God. I cannot guarantee. I'm not saying we'll do that now, but I'm saying that like God is here. He's everyone. Like He hears. He's now.
We're not
And
McDonald's. We can't have
God,
that kind
I
of
pray
guarantee.
He answers like right then, even if the answer is no. It's not like He's a genie in a lamp, though, that I can that we rub and make wishes. It's not like that, but He does.
He rubs you.
Yeah, He does that.
Well,
He does
brother,
that?
I'm going to say this to you. I'm also, or was, an ordained deacon.
You were, Zena?
Yes.
Oh, well.
Okay? I had my own little congregation. I had all sorts of weird things. And then I actually saw the light, and I'm no longer there.
Yes, that's true.
Because all the stuff that you just said,
yes,
I never found. I found the complete opposite.
Yes, you did.
You know what I mean?
You
I
did.
found the complete opposite. Nothing you just said about loving and blah blah blah. Nothing. I found nothing. Not even a small amount of what you just did.
Yes. Well, I mean, we all know that you demonstrated that when you were discussing the indigenous people. If I'm not mistaken, you were addressing whatever word that you use that the people in chat really want to curse you out. The word that you use, I guess, to describe indigenous people, but whatever word you were using, that's irrelevant. Well, it's not irrelevant. It's actually important, but it's another example that you did not find love. You're right. Because to me,
No.
saying that
I
the
found more
problem
love
of
and
indigenous
more
people,
peace
um,
outside of the church.
I see. Because if you found love in the church or outside of the church, that would help you to love the indigenous people and reach out to people instead of sitting back and judging them and saying that they're the problem. Maybe
I never said that.
He
So
never
you
said
just
that.
twisted
I
my
don't. You're
words.
right. I don't.
I
I
never
don't
said
want to
that at
start an
all.
argument with you. You're right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I don't think you're sort of privy to the conversation either, because you said
You're
you're
right.
having trouble with your
That's
sound.
right. You're right.
Like,
I don't want to address that. I didn't want to
And
go back
I
and that
and
scene.
I also
You're
don't
exactly
want
right.
to.
I see
I'm going
why.
to interrupt Deacon
Fine.
to give Deacon more time. Though I will say, Deacon, I'm going to hand it back over to you because we are
Sorry.
going to move through it. However, it is
Right.
still his turn, and
I'm
so
so sorry. Everyone,
I'm
I'm
going to
so
hand it back
sorry.
over to you.
I'm so sorry. I try so hard
No. I
to,
love
to
having
be.
you, and
it's
you have
fine,
good
it's fine.
vibes, Deacon. We're happy to have you here, and I just wanted to say I just stand by it. If I had a sensual relationship with God, I might have stayed a theist longer. But
Oh my
you know,
goodness. Well, I do describe. Well, God actually is funny. I tell you, God has a funny sense of humor. He describes heaven to me, meaning heaven is like having an orgasm like 24/7 times infinity, and I can tell that. Yeah, that
is
is
that what it's like? It's for you.
yes, it's better than sex. It's better than orgasm because the
That
love
soundbite is
it
better than
goes
sex.
beyond just physical. It's spiritual. God is loving your actual soul. He doesn't care what you look like. He don't care what your skin color is. He don't care what size we are. He don't care what our hair looks like. He don't care if we wake up in the morning with morning breath.
But can he get you there, Deacon? That's what I really want to know. Can he
Can't
get you there?
nobody do
Nobody
me
else.
like Jesus. He is my friend. I know what that song means. Can't nobody do me like Jesus. Let me stop. I am joking a little around. But what I'm saying, even when I'm in the midst of that lust, he doesn't judge me. He loves me. It's just that.
Your partner never should.
Right. Well, he doesn't judge nobody. I mean, he doesn't want us to go around hurting anybody. That is the problem. I think the
Unless
problem
you're into
is
that.
people who go around and fornicate, making kids, not taking care of them, passing around diseases, using people as sex objects. That is the problem with sex. Sex itself is sacred. It's beautiful. It's a gift, even though it is a curse. We have a curse from it, but it's a gift that we can enjoy as a human being if we do it
Messy sometimes.
in the right way. That doesn't lead to more suffering and destruction.
Which reminds us, we do have a brand new sponsor. Remember, everyone, condoms. Brought to you by Latex. All right, one more last sentence, and then we're going down the list. Deacon, anything else to say?
Okay, right. Yes, that's right. I was supposed to talk short. That's it. I love everybody, and like I say, God is very accessible. I could lead us all through it. But people will be like, they'll have their little thing. That's not the thing. God can prove Himself. I do notice that He's ambiguous. I find that very funny because He does. I know there is that little room
30
for
seconds.
sometimes he likes to be ambiguous to either give people that choice of either accepting him as the truth or deciding to brush it off and go their own way. I get that. That's kind of universal comedy, but I don't prefer that way. But I'm not God. I'm not saying he's a comedian in that way because he's not. It's the larger plan of what we can't understand. It's just truly amazing. But everything happens for a reason, even the bad things, because we're given free will. I'm so sorry that if people suffer. I wish I could help you. My heart goes
10
out.
seconds.
And I'm out of here. I got
Right.
blessed in Jesus' name. Y'all just go pray to yourself. Ask for God to come and show you that He exists and that He's real and that He loves you. That's my challenge to you. Everyone, go and sit in the room by yourself, or go in the bathroom, look in the mirror, stare in the mirror, and say, "Does Jesus Christ die for the dead? Is Jesus Christ arise from the dead? Does Jesus Christ love me? Does Jesus Christ love me?" Or God say, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus." Just say that and keep repeating it until something happens.
Until you
When
get to
something
like a
happens,
point
let
where
me
you
know.
you go
Love
right over the
y'all. God
edge.
prove himself. I'm out of here. I God bless you in Jesus' name, and that's it.
Sending so much
Do
love
try
to
to
you.
eat and drink sometime, though. Like hydrate and stuff if you're going to be doing that.
Oh,
But I just feel like if you say Jesus, 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 oh, you got to reach a point. There's a word. It's like a max.
It is.
Edging.
The
You're
word, the
edging.
name Jesus has power because Jesus is behind that name. His very name
Max,
hurts the
max.
demons. His name hurts him. If you call on him, tell him he coming, he there, he loves you. I love you. I love you, Mark, James, Zenith. I love you, even though you don't love. I pray that God helps you find that love. I love you. God bless
What
you
do
in
you mean I
Jesus'
don't
name.
love? What are you
Mm.
talking about? Like,
I am sending so much
He
love.
said
Thank
he
you.
didn't. Zenith told us. He said he did not find that love. That's what Zenith told us. He said he didn't. He didn't
no,
experience
he
it. He
said he
didn't
did.
feel it. That's
yeah, I'm talking about
Well,
this God thing and
and
Jesus thing that I never found what you're
Zenith,
talking about.
before you actually
what.
tell us that,
Keep
we're
looking,
going to hand it
baby.
over to him because
Keep
it's
looking
then
for
Mark,
love.
James, and I'm
God
going
will
to
find you, and then
land the
you
ship.
understand what the indigenous people are going through. That's when you'll understand. When
He
you find
he
that
he
love.
he never said that. He never said he had no heart for what the indigenous people are going through. He's
No,
just
he
used the
didn't.
word that he didn't understand the context behind, and that's understandable. Like
Yes.
I think you're sort of misrepresenting what Zenith said here.
Oh, but wasn't his original point he was talking about? He said, in a certain area there were more Aussies. Was that the word you used? You said that a
No,
certain area was more Aussies, and he
I
said
think
that
that's
your
correct.
area. He was like your area. He was basically he was saying that his area was better than your area, and was it because that there are more
That's not
indigenous
what I
people
said.
that live in your area than yours? Is that what? Or am I mistaken?
You're mistaken.
I think you
Okay,
might
I'm
be
sorry.
mistaken. I didn't hear that.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so then since I'm leaving off, when you leave off, can you explain again what y'all were saying about his area and what you were saying about the indigenous people and about why did you snub Mark's area? Because
And,
you
well,
asked him where
I got
he
to,
both from
Hey, look,
Australia.
I
I
snubbed
have
my
to,
area all the time, like quite frankly. So I wouldn't get too upset about that.
and I have to preface
Oh,
this because this is
I'm-
outros. Zenith, we are moving to
okay.
you. We have been skeptic and ranting what the Antichrist will do, and what are your final thoughts? And we're keeping pippy because
Keeping it
we're at
50.
hour 3.5.
Yeah. All I can say is, where's this Antichrist? Haven't turned up. No one knows whether he's real, whether he's not. All I know is he isn't here. And if he is here, well, hallelujah to us. We'll enjoy it. And
Woo.
yeah.
Thank you so very much, Zenith. I don't see any good
Take care,
evidence for an
Mark. Take
Antichrist.
care, Amy. Take care,
Take care,
James.
Zenith. Yeah, good
And
connection, mate.
to Mr. Deacon, grow up.
We are all sending love out there. We are moving right down the list. Mark Reid, I know you've been doing a lot on the interwebs. What you got going on? And of course, what is your final thoughts?
Well, first, what I've got going on, I've got a debate review over the Matt Delahunty and Bob from Speaker's Corner that was on Modern Day Debate the other day. Absolute dumpster fire. I'm going to be going through it, breaking it down, finding out whether the arguments actually hold any weight, whether they're actually good arguments, bad arguments. A lot of it is sort of Matt did a fantastic opening, but I think the rest of it went downhill very dramatically from there. And I think some of the arguments were really bad from the Christian side, and I'm going to point out why. Matt sort of, as soon as he didn't make sort of the other guy wasn't engaging with him and really engaging with Strawman, he probably didn't make the best ones either. So I'm not gonna sort of excuse Matt Delahunty as well just because he's Matt Delahunty. But it's very easy to sit back and sort of go, oh, well, he could have said this and he could have said that. It's really easy to do that after a debate, to sit back and say, hey, where could you have said something? So, I keep that in mind. Like when you review something, it's very easy to do as opposed to actually step up and do it in the first place. So, but that's all I've really got going on. I hopefully have another debate coming up. I'm just talking with Modern Day about getting it set up, which should be fantastic. I'm talking with Amy about getting an evolution debate set up with Praise, so that should be hilarious if nothing else. That should be fun. I really enjoy that one. And then I've promised him that if I do that debate, then I'll do a debate on slavery in the Bible, which I'm quite happy to as well. So if he makes good on his promise, I'll make good on mine.
Christians and slavery. I don't know what it is.
Praise dipping his willy into the evolution debate. Usually he doesn't. He lets the other guys deal with that.
Well, okay, so the story is we were on Standing for Truths, and he was having an evolution debate. I like to pop over there and stir the mix occasionally when there's an evolution debate, just because I really enjoy debating it. And sort of in his chat, Praise was going on about evolution, that so we disagreed on something, and so I said, well, do you want to debate about it, kind of thing? And he said, yeah, sure, I'm happy to, and never heard back from him afterwards. So he said, oh, well, if you want to do an evolution debate, why don't we do a slavery in the Bible debate instead? And I'm like, well, where did that come from for a start? But I tell you what, I'll do slavery in the Bible if you do evolution, right? So that's how it came about. So that's sort of why I
pushing him into the ring. I like it though.
Well, I mean, we're arguing about evolution, and then he says, well, let's do slavery in the Bible. Like, what has that got to do with anything? I don't understand. But, it's obviously he thinks it's his wheelhouse. So, he's going to go to that area, which is fine. But, I wasn't going to let him get off the hook for evolution. So, yeah. They love to defend slavery. Absolutely, Blaster Master. Couldn't agree more. Okay, so my thoughts on it. So there's been tons and tons of these end of the world stuff come along again and again and again. And it's just another reiteration of it. I still don't understand how anybody can say we're on a downwards trajectory. I don't get the genetic devolution thing, because everything they describe with genetic devolution is basically just evolution. Like, it's just that concept, which is really, really weird. I think Deacon, I get that Deacon wants to tell us all about his kind of God thing, and that's fine. Like, you can believe that if you want. But to us, it's just a claim. You're just claiming all of this stuff. Like, there's no reason to believe you over the guy who says they've been abducted by aliens. There's no reason to. And it doesn't matter how strongly you feel that is true, or how much it means to you that it's true. It's irrelevant. What you've got to do is show some kind of evidence that you do, in fact, talk to this entity, right? Because without evidence, we have nothing, literally nothing, to base any believability criteria on you. And from what we can see, how do you falsify that it is a God that you're talking to? There appears to be no way to eliminate that possibility. How do you know you're not talking to a demon? How do you know you're not talking to another God? How do you know it's not something else? How do you know that the government hasn't implanted a chip in your brain and talking to you pretending to be God? How do you know all of this? You don't seem to have any criteria to eliminate any of these possibilities. You just want to believe that it is true because it makes you feel good, which is a terrible reason to believe anything. If I could believe I'm winning the lotto tomorrow, it would make me feel really good that I'm winning the lotto tomorrow. It would be fantastic. Doesn't make it true, right? We've got to just differentiate what you want to be true from what actually is true, and what you can demonstrate to be true, what you can actually show to be true. So if your idea of, well, if you just look into a mirror and repeat Jesus until you believe, that's a really bad way of determining whether something is true, because you're basically going about the process of convincing yourself it's true. Whereas real knowledge comes from being demonstrated among everybody, being able to show that it's true to anybody, regardless of what they believe. That is what true knowledge is. As Aaron Ra says, if you can't show it, then you don't know it. And I think maybe there's a bit of problems with that, but generally I kind of agree. If you can't show it to anybody, do you really know that for certain? And it's a good question. I don't think people should be afraid of the end of the world. I think it's been touted constantly. I have a more optimistic view. I think that humans working together can do literally anything. That being said, humans are in one of the most precarious environments ever. We're in space, right? It's lethal to any kind of life. We can only shut down, can't survive in space. The only way we're going to succeed is to work together. So to have respect for each other, to accommodate each other, to be able to say, hey, you believe that? That's fine. As long as that belief isn't interfering with other people's issues and what other people have going on, that's fine. You can believe whatever you want. It's when those beliefs or what you're doing starts to affect negatively either the physical or mental well-being of others. And then we've got a problem. We've got a segment of humans being affected by others' beliefs, which haven't been demonstrated to be true. And that's a problem. So I'll leave it there. Sorry, I probably talked too much, but thank you so much for letting me on here. Thank you for Deacon coming on, Zenith coming on, and of course, Amy and James, two of my favorite people in the world. It's been fantastic to be here. Thank you so much.
I agree.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you so very much, Mark. You should check him out.
No, just plug me. I'm fine.
Woo! YouTube.com/Mark Reid Atheism. Check out all his debates. And yes, I want to thank you all for coming on the show. I'm handing it over to James to land
don't
us.
hand it over to me. I gotta run. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
I'm
Well,
jumping out the plane.
James,
Plane's
like
up
I
the
have
way
a
down, I'm
parachute.
parachuting out. Yeah.
You're gonna parachute
With
out.
that, then, I am going to send out the Patreon. We are going to, within the next, I know I've been saying that more shows, but also Patreon-a-thon, as well as a whole bunch of extra support by supporting in there. But I hope you all had a fun time on this episode of Skeptic and Ranting, What the Antichrist Will Do, where we watched a video from the channel Lion of Judah on what the Antichrist will do in 2024. It's shocking.
Right. We got to wait for that. That's next year.
I know. It's always the end of the world. For 2,000 years, it's been the end of the world. For a good time, worth the end of the world. Though I do want to thank my co-host, James W., along with our panel, Deacon, Zenith, and Mark. I hear Peter's ding, ding, ding in my background, as well as the people in chat, our awesome mods who make this stream so great, and lovely viewers like you who make this channel even possible. If you enjoy the show, please don't forget to do all of the things that are ingrained into my brain. Like, follow, subscribe. Hey, you can share it if you're in a debate with someone. And then hit that bell icon to all so you can join our live streams. Or hey, why not leave a comment after the video is done? You can also leave a super thanks, and I used to say we'll read it back. I think people got shy about that, but we'll send thanks to you. The link of the Skeptic and Renting Discord server is in the description below, the link of which is available to all, along with our fantastic channel members who have our evolving badge system, where just over time, the creationists say we worship time, and yet somehow the badges just evolve.
Yeah. And I'd like to say thank you, Mark, for helping me out with my wording too.
Oh, my pleasure. Not a problem.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't mean to offend anybody. That's
I know.
You know.
I know.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot of baggage with that word that you didn't mean to put that baggage. Like, it's not you that's trying to. It's just that's what comes with it, just automatically because of the history of the word.
Yeah.
And you know, I realize that you probably didn't mean all of that baggage, but it just comes with that baggage, unfortunately.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. All right. Well, that's all right. Well, you put me straight.
No worries.
Mm-hmm.
All right, lads.
Sending love to all Though there are many debates upcoming, I'm about to do another Theist helpline on Sunday. Created the executive producers of which are Randolph, Richardson, and Taco. But come join us. Myself, T-Jump, and Ix will definitely be there. And the best way to support the show, finally, I already sent it in there, so with less clickety-clack, I need to do the thing that Mark told me.
You call
it makes it, yeah, you can't hear clicking. But there it is, patreon.com/Amy Newman. I am Amy Newman, and we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z. Good night, y'all. Mwah. Also, Azur, you should be in the closing, adding him in there, updating.
Thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing this video, and I want to give a big thank you to all the channel members whose support allows me to bring you more content like this in the future. Thank you so much, everyone.